On day 110, a lot of people think that this war may be at the beginning of the end. It probably is only the beginning of the end. It may have a little way to go yet, but an end is in sight. On Sunday, President Trump's 80th birthday, nothing was actually agreed, but a Memorandum of Understanding has been in circulation ever since. The Americans haven't released a version of it, and it may be signed tomorrow or perhaps Friday. But there are other versions going around, and those versions all agree with each other. They're going around in the Arab world, and Bloomberg has put out a version of it today. I think the Americans must hope it isn't the final version because it's very unfavourable to America. If the version that is out there now is the final version, then everyone will ask, what was this war really all about? It contains a page and a half, 14 points. In brief, those points are, one, an immediate ceasefire, but the ceasefire must apply to Lebanon. Another element is that there will be a gradual loosening of all of the economic pressures on Iran. A third element, all of the nuclear issues, all of them, just go into a future negotiation. And not least, there is to be a $300 billion fund for Iran to help reconstruct the country. Nobody's clear who will pay for it. President Trump has already said, we're not paying for it. It's not clear who will. So if this is the final version, it looks like something of a real political defeat for the United States. When we see the American version of this MOU, then we'll know. The most important thing in the MOU for the rest of the world, of course, is the Strait of Hormuz. And what the MOU says is that the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened gradually over a period of 30 days. And that's important. It will be a gradual reopening because there's an awful lot of clearance to do. There's so many ships now caught on the wrong side of the Strait of Hormuz that to unwind that confusion will take some time. It will take some weeks, probably months, before the oil transit gets back to normal, if there are no other problems in the Strait of Hormuz. In reality, the straits have been less than complete, and the blockades have been less than complete. Sky's Data and Forensics Unit has already tracked 4 particular tankers, 3 of them fully laden, leaving the Iranian coast towards the open sea. Now, the area that they might have gone to load up is Jask. There is an oil terminal at Jask, not a very big one, but it's the only place you can load oil. Why are they going from there? Chances are they're not. They may have come through the straits. They might have gone to Jask. They probably had their transponders turned off until they got to that point, and then, this is why we tracked them, then they turned their transponders on. Why is this important? Because it shows if they've turned their transponders on and they're going now for the open sea, they probably feel confident enough, Iranian tankers, that the Americans will not intercept them. They'll not seize them. They'll not try to turn them back. That's an indication of confidence on the Iranians' part. But there's a bigger issue here too. Remember what we said about the MOU, the peace deal. If that MOU is what it says it is, there's an immediate ceasefire, and it must apply to Lebanon. If there is a breach of the ceasefire in Lebanon, if Hezbollah starts sending rockets into northern Israel, if the Israelis respond, as they've said they will, by attacking into southern Lebanon again, even more by attacking Beirut, the Iranians could block the Strait of Hormuz within a couple of hours. It would only take a couple of missiles, a couple of drones to fire at any ships passing through. It takes about 8 hours for any ship to pass through the Strait of Hormuz itself. And that could be a very nervy 8 hours if there are any drones being fired. It wouldn't take much to block the Strait of Hormuz again. So we could imagine that the Israelis are actually hostage now to the Strait of Hormuz. If the Israelis, in the view of the Iranians, if they misbehave themselves, the straits may close for a day. Then they might open again. Then they might close again. You can imagine the Strait of Hormuz opening and closing and opening and closing as a pressure point until the Iranians feel that they're getting what they want out of this 60 days of negotiation with the Americans on all of the nuclear issues. In reality, this takes us all back to before the bombing started, before the 28th of February. We're back to that situation, but it's worse. It's worse than it was then because the world has suffered. The Strait of Hormuz is a pressure point, and I cannot believe that the Iranians will not continue to use it. In 1869, Mark Twain famously said that war is God's way of teaching the Americans geography. Well, I suspect that this war will be a continuing lesson in geography for all of us.